Hey guys, it's Morgan coming back to you with another Shlog. We got Zach working on a Husaberg, which was the transition from KTM buying Husaberg, changing Husabergs into KTMs, and then ditching the brand and just bringing Husqvarna under their wing. So that was like the first, I believe, the first like plastic subframe setup that they ran, except for the I take that back. The 70-degree motors had plastic subframes, but this is the first of the modern iteration of the plastic subframe. So, yeah, anyway, Angry Zach is over there prepping this bike. It's been sitting way too long. Mr. Ryan Stutzman, taking way too long. Anyway, it's Tuesday. It's time to get to work, guys. Welcome to our little weekly vlog here that we call the Shlog. I hope you guys like it. If you enjoy the video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and a thumbs up. That would be super awesome. Let's get to work.
Yeah!
Somebody's gonna get high and it's gonna make me.
Alright guys, I'm going to start today with mail time. Super excited about this mail time. So let me show you what we got. So I have been running a carbon up cover on my 300 now for quite a while. I haven't had any real issues except for one time I crashed and, surprise, surprise, right? And I crashed and something hit the cover just right. And it didn't break the cover. The cover's super duper strong, but it flexed it just enough that the gasket poked out of the bottom and it started leaking oil. Fortunately, I saw it quickly and I was able to lay the bike on its side, loosen the cover, tuck the gasket back in and tighten it down, and I actually haven't even changed or messed with it. But that's been one of the problems with carbon ups, is that they're just a little bit too flexible. They don't break, which is awesome, but I've heard of that situation, and I've also heard of guys who get their bikes super hot, like some hard enduro thing, you know, where they're slipping the clutch or whatever, and it just gets way hot. It's almost boiling the oil, and it will flex that cover and leak. Anyway, some friends of the Carbon Up guys have been watching our channel, and they said, you should get this guy a new one and try it out. So I guess they have updated it, and so they sent me one to try out. I'm really excited. So this is totally free, you know, full disclosure, guys. I didn't pay for this. They didn't pay me, though, so we'll give it a try. But let's see if we can see any major differences between this and the one that's already on the bike. It's already on the bike. I'm not going to go take it off right now, but so okay, I can tell right away that this is quite a bit stronger. Like, yeah, like the size here is the same. I think the thickness right here is all the same, but you can really tell that that cover is quite a bit stiffer. That's awesome. I really like, I mean, even when I did crash and I had the leak happen, it didn't like break the cover, and I freaking smacked it right on a rock. So they are really strong. Comes with the tool and the gasket. Feels like about the same gasket. So one of the things I've been thinking about doing, I actually ordered a couple extras of these gaskets when I had the other one leak, and I've been considering sending one of these gaskets to Kinetic and see if they can build me an aluminum one with rubber coating. I guess that it's important that this be this rubber stuff to make it seal, because I guess they had problems with normal gaskets. But I don't know if they've ever tried the rubber or the aluminum covered in rubber, and I think that could actually be really good. So I have extras of these. One of these days I'll send one to Kinetic and see if we can't get it fixed. But yeah, got all the little... It's kind of interesting. They come with these little dowels that go into the cover, and it's not installed. And the reason they do that is because you install it like a little bit first, like you put them in not all the way, and you leave a little bit sticking out, so that then the gasket sits on there and doesn't want to move around when you install it. And then as you tighten it down, it pushes them the rest of the way in. It's kind of an interesting way to do it, but it works. The only problem is that if you have to take it off to do anything to the clutch, then it's you know, whatever, it is the way it is. I guess you could just remove them. I didn't really have a problem. I've taken my cover off a couple times to replace the clutch and do a couple other things, and I just was careful and it seemed to be fine. So yeah, anyway, that's super cool. Thank you guys at Carbon Up. I really appreciate it. I will definitely get this on the bike this week, and we will test the heck out of it. So awesome. First job on my lift today is the CX50 Mini from Cobra. I got the CX50 big one done last week, and it's on down the road. Also, really hoping I'm going to have gaskets for the 85, the TC85 today. But this guy, mainly just doing a service, checking things out, making sure it's good to go for race season. Nothing really wrong with it. We did find problems with the brakes a few weeks ago, but I think I got that sorted out. I have parts in case I need to replace them, but if they're working good, I'm going to leave it so that if he needs the parts later, we can do it. So, yeah, I'll check in if I find anything real interesting. Alright guys, we're going to install the Carbon Up cover on my bike, and we'll check out the differences between this one and the one that's on there. So let me just go through how you do this. It's kind of a funky setup, honestly, but yeah, it works really good. So it comes with this tool, and what you do is you take these sleeves, put them on the tool, and you're going to install it. And what the tool does, right there, you see it leaves a little bit of it showing. And they're all different sizes. The interior, though, is the same. So the inside diameter of the sleeves is all the same. The outsides are a little bit different. But super easy. All right, there we go. Then we take their gasket. What the sleeves do is they help you align the gasket and hold it in place as you install it. And they need that because this gasket is this kind of funky rubber stuff, and so if you tried to just put it on without something holding it in place, it probably wouldn't work. So you just kind of get it over. Super simple. Now let's head over to the bike and pull the other one off. All right. All right, guys. I know it's really hard to see in this camera, and maybe you can't see anything at all, but there is a difference in the weight. This one definitely feels a little bit heavier. You can't tell any kind of flex or anything like that, but it feels a little bit stiffer. So I am thinking this would hopefully solve the problem that I had. Also, I've talked to other people who've had other little issues, but you know, mine's been really good. So let's go ahead and put this thing on. As you can see, these guys are sticking up a little bit. That's okay. What you do is you take it and you gonna just set it down, and then take our bolts, and we're just gonna start them. What they want you to do is just slowly go around, and as soon as they touch the cover, you want to stop, and we're just going to do a half a turn on each as we go around in a circle to slowly ease the cover down onto those pins. I'm just going to keep going around until we can tighten them all down. And actually, I'm gonna grab my torque wrench on this one, because with this cover you really don't want to over tighten them because it'll mess up the gasket. Alright, so we're gonna set our torque wrench to 7 foot-pounds. We'll do it in a crisscross. And I've seen a bunch of comments online about not wanting to use one of these blingy filler caps, but it hasn't been a problem on my other one, so I'm going to use it. It does weep a little bit on the other one, so we'll see if maybe this version has solved that. But I don't really mind it being, you know, having a little bit of weep on it. Just got to clean the bike, but that's not a big deal to me. There we go. Put the brake pedal back on. We'll be good to go. Make sure you guys stick with us here on the channel. Subscribe, because if this thing breaks or causes any kind of issues, you guys will be the first to know. But I've really been happy with my other one, so I don't foresee any issues with this one. So yeah, on to the next job. Alright guys, next on my list is this lovely 300 XCW that just needs a rear tire, and it has a little bit of a coolant leak, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. And it's also interesting to watch Zach change a moose and watch him. Look at how much fun he's having over there. Almost like I shouldn't pay him to do this. In fact, maybe I'll just stop, and because I think he has so much fun here that he would do it for free. Oh, I'm gonna get hit in the face. Anyway, so take a look right here. We got a leak going on. It definitely looks like it's water. So it's hard to say, but I don't think it's coming from the hose, which was my first thing. Although it does, there is like a thing right there, but I think that the gasket on here is kind of like an O-ring thing. So I'm gonna pull this off and take a look at that. So let me set you guys down. We'll drain the coolant out, and then we'll take a look and see what we find. So this is pretty clear. Focus. There we go. You can see that O-ring is blown out right there on top. So that is a good thing to see. That means that we probably found where it's leaking. I think I have another one of these O-rings, so I'm gonna go grab that thing, clean this up, and we'll put it back together. All right, so I didn't have that gasket. I had a full water pump rebuild kit for my bike, which is an 18. Turns out in 17 and up, they changed the shape of that water pump housing just a little bit, so it doesn't fit. I called a local dealer. They don't have one. That's a bummer. It's okay though. The problem is this gentleman really wants to ride this weekend, and it's only a couple days away, so we can't get the right gasket in time. That's okay. It wasn't leaking bad anyway. He probably would have ridden it like that, but I think I can make it stop leaking until we get the right gasket. So what I did was clean this off really well. Started with the solvent tank, then soap and water, and then air. Now it's really nice and clean. Did the same thing for the gasket, and you can see the part that was leaking was kind of right up in here, and it's actually still got plenty of elasticity, but it's must have just been kind of funky. So anyway, that's all right. We're gonna make this work. We've got a Threebond 1184. So we need to get the old stuff out of the way, so we got fresh, really liquid stuff. And we're going to take this and we're going to run just a really, really thin bead down in that groove. I'm sure someone on the internet is going to tell me what a terrible idea this is, and that it's going to run through the cooling system and ruin the motorcycle and all that. And I'm going to tell that person that wait, first of all, and see how I do this, and then also I've done this plenty of times before and never had an issue. You got to use the right stuff, first of all. Silicone is not the best. And then also, the waiting until this gets really dry and tacky is the other key. Now we're going to take it, we're not waiting yet, we're going to go ahead and install this here. It's going to make a bit of a mess, but that's alright. We're in a shop, we don't care about messes. And so I'm going to make sure I get it pushed down in the groove. Then, so you see, it did make a mess, that's okay. Now we take our rag and we're going to get all that excess out of there. Because we don't want it to go into the cooling system. Alright, now we need to put a really thin layer of this on the rubber too, because that was where it was leaking, was between the rubber and the outside world. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here, we're going to go around real thin. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our finger, and I know I don't have gloves on, that's alright, my fingers will clean. We're just going to spread this out nice and thin. Boom, like that. Got all the excess off. And now, here's the key to making sure that this doesn't go all over the cooling system. So we're going to set this thing down for probably about 10-15 minutes and let this really tack up and get nice and sticky so that when you push it on, it doesn't squeeze out everywhere. So there we go. Now, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and take the wheel off of this, change tires, and then when I'm done with that, I'll go ahead and put it, I'll put the cover back on. Alright guys, so had a few customers come in, so the tire's still not down, it's over there, but this is all nice and dry. It's been about 20 minutes, maybe actually a little bit longer, but this is going to be really nice and tacky, which means we can stick it on here and it's not going to squish sealant everywhere. And the little bit that it does squish out, because it is going to squish some, won't go anywhere. It'll stay stuck to this and it'll stay in place. And then when we get the right gasket, we can bring it back in and we can take care of it. So I don't know if you guys want to watch this, but here we go. It's not that exciting, but go like that. Once we get this all buttoned up, I'm going to put coolant in it, run it till it gets real hot, and make sure it doesn't squeeze out, and then we'll be good to go. So I'll check back in once we get it running and up to temperature and make sure we're not leaking. Look at that. Zach's working on a Trail 110 and it's awesome. Despite his best efforts, it does run. So I'm in the middle of changing this mousse, and I want to show you guys this little trick. And I've done a separate video about this, but I figure I'll sneak it into the Shlog and call it a tech tip. So if you got a mousse that's been in the tire for a while, they shrink, and we're putting a new tire. We're not ready to buy a new mousse yet. There is a trick to getting a little more time out of it. Grab a tube, preferably a heavy-duty one if you have one, but whatever. And grab a razor blade, and we're just gonna come in here and gut it like a fish. So just wrap it up. Super easy, super simple. And I've had a lot of people ask, do you lube the mousse or do you lube the outside of the tire? Really, you want to do both, but this tire or old tube had slime in it, which isn't awesome, but it does make for a nice lube on the Moose. So now we're going to take some new nitro lube and put it inside the tire, and then we'll chuck this thing in there, change it, whatever. So anyway, check back in here when we get this bike running and we check the coolant. Right on, guys, coolant fix worked really well. So I ran it till it got nice and hot. You can see in there it's nice and dry and happy and clean and not a bunch of gasket maker everywhere. So that's a little tech tip. If you're using the Yamabond 1184, which is also known as if you're using the Threebond 1184, also known as Yamabond, if you let it sit for a nice long time, it'll tack up and get pretty thick, so when you put it together, it doesn't go everywhere. That's really key, actually, when you do cases together on Yamahas and whatever bike that doesn't have a center case gasket. You want to let that stuff sit for a long time before you put it together, otherwise it squeezes out and it goes everywhere. So, all right, so next on the lift is actually going to be, I gotta decide here. Let's see. All right, so next on the lift, guys, I'm going to bring the 05 YZ125 up on the lift. This is the YZ that we're going to use as a full-on apples-to-apples shootout against the KTM 125 XC. Thank you again to Mr. Robbie Noyles for that bike. It's not ours, but he's letting us use it for the shootout. But I'm going to take the cylinder head off and send that off to Kelsey at RK Tech to weld it up and reshape it. And then also my buddy Brady at TBT Oklahoma is being kind enough to revalve the suspension for us and get it set up specifically for off-road stuff. So I'm really, really excited about that. Like I said, that way the bikes will be very, very similar other than the brand and geometries and things like that. So yeah, let's pull that thing up and get the head off and take a look at it. Alright, got all the head nuts off. I'm going to be careful not to lose any washers. Take a look inside there. See what we see in this top end. Yep, just as I expected. That is a brand new piston. That's what Robbie told me. He said he just put a top end in the thing. So that looks good and fresh. Cylinder looks great, so we're good. Now let's take a look at this head. So it's an adorable little thing. It's looks like it may have had some damage in the past. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got a few little nicks and stuff, but it's just old. It's a 2005 motorcycle. So guys, remember this. I'll make sure we save a screenshot of this and we'll show you what it looks like when we get it back from RK Tech. But I'm going to clean it up, dry it off, take the spark plug out, box it up, and send it off to Kelsey. And we'll get that back hopefully pretty soon. Next thing we've got to do is I'm actually going to take this bike and put it on a stand over in the corner so I can take the suspension off of it and send it off to Brady. Alright guys, got the 125 all in pieces. So there she is right now. Got to cover up the top and the carburetor with a rag, but so this thing's just going to sit here like this until I get everything back. Like I said, going to send the head to Kelsey and going to send the suspension to Brady. And I've had a lot of people ask me who want to send stuff to Brady, like, well, how do I send it? You know, what do I do? And this is the ticket right here. A gun case. You can buy these cheap at Walmart, 25 bucks or something like that. They come with the foam in it. You don't have to buy the super fancy Pelican style. I mean, that's nice if you want to. If you're going to be sending your suspension around a lot or sending a bunch of suspension, it's not a bad idea. But these inexpensive ones are great. A couple keys to doing this is clean the suspension, make it nice and shiny and happy and clean and dry for your suspension tuner. If it's Brady, I know he'll very much appreciate that. Whoever it is, they'll be very happy. And then once you get it in here, you want to then wrap it up, because like while that is fine and would make it there and all that, this banging around on this and whatever as UPS or the USPS takes it to its destination is going to end up scratching things up. So what you want to do is grab some packing paper or some towels or something like that. But I'll show you what I do here. So here at the shop, we get lots of this in our packages. So I have a ton of it. And I start with the shock. I don't know, you guys probably don't really need to see me do this, but it's important that you protect your investment, right? So these parts are all very expensive. Everything on these is expensive. And you're about to send it to a guy who's going to make it even worth more money. So you want to just do a good job, make sure everything's protected. And I put the shock kind of up here, and then just a little bit in between, like that. Then we box her up. Now on these less expensive ones, it's not going to be the most, you know, positive closure. So, but that's okay because you're not spending hundreds of dollars on a gun case. Slide this off the end like that. And you're just going to tape all the way around it, and then, you know, just a couple straps. And the last thing I do, all these cases will have holes like that. It's for locks, but just some zip ties work good. Go through each one of those, and then I always put a zip tie around here. And then print your shipping label, and your stuff is safe. So you can do all of that, more than that, whatever. Just remember, these parts are terribly expensive, and you don't want to have to buy parts for them. So I like to make sure it's gonna be nice and safe. Definitely get good insurance on it when you ship it to them. But if you guys are at all interested in sending some stuff to Brady, I'll put his number in the description below, and you guys can give him a call, set up a situation, get your stuff dialed in. It's the best in the business, in my opinion. So anyway, on to the next job. All right, guys, next on the list, we got a really super clean, really nice 200 KTM XCW electric start version. Really nice bike, kind of hard to find. But we are installing a Lectron carburetor on that thing, so I'll show you guys how we do that, and let's just check out what you get in the box when you order a Lectron. If you guys have been watching the channel long, you'll know that I think Lectrons are fine. I do like normal carburetors. Mikunys or Keans better, but Lectrons do work. I have one on my YZ250. It works just fine. I don't have any issues with it. I just don't feel like you get quite the performance from the Lectron, but you do get the like lack of hassle. So you don't have to, once you get it tuned, you don't ever have to really fiddle with it too much again. So yeah, anyway. So there we go. The thing about Lectron is it doesn't have any jets. Well, I guess technically this could be considered a jet. It's a power jet that sucks fuel. Let me get this out of the way. So the power jet here that's adjustable here, it's like an extra main jet. So when you twist the throttle and the slide goes up out of the way, I'll show you guys that in a bit. It pulls gas from the bottom of the float bowl up and then sucks it in there. And it's based completely on pressure differences between the outside and inside of the carburetor. So that is really the effective altitude compensation of this, is that this only pulls when there's so much air going across. So the less air, the higher up in altitude, the less fuel it pulls and all that. So anyway, yeah, we're just gonna install this thing. We're not going to fiddle with it yet. We're just going to put it on and then run it and see how it runs, because a lot of times these things will run just fine out of the box. You don't have to tune them at all, but we're going to check and make sure. Comes with a new cable. Sadly, it does not come with the tool anymore. They used to come with a little tool to adjust it, but they don't even come with that, which is kind of a bummer, but whatever. I guess they don't want people messing with it too much, but anyway, so I'm gonna take the other carburetor off, other throttle cable, get this all on there, and I'll check back in as we're getting close. It's not really too complicated of a thing to do. All right, guys, got the Lectron on here. There she is. Gas is on. I have not started it yet, not even touched the button. So gas is on. I'm not gonna hit the choke, and we're just gonna see how it does, just like it is. Let's see what happens here. Highland Cycles, is Morgan. Yeah, what's that? I definitely don't have one. Yeah, you bet. But, all right, here we go. It's pretty good. No choke, no throttle. You guys just watch that happen. Like, I didn't touch anything. So, it's gonna do pretty good, at least I look. I like it. Seems crisp. Obviously, I'm going to go ride it, see if it's really good. If it's not, I'll have to adjust the metering rod, but honestly, a lot of these ones are way better now. They seem to be coming pretty good right out of the box. So I usually, as long as it's close, I have the customer go ride the thing actually in the dirt and let me know what they think. If we need to change anything, it's super easy to do. So yeah, I'm gonna let this thing warm up. Then I gotta change the gear oil, put a tire on it, and it'll be ready to go. All right, guys. So we finally got parts for the little TC85. Finally got the right gaskets, so I'm gonna put this thing back together, bring you guys along as we do that. Already got the piston on and rings on and all that. So now we're just got left. All we gotta do is slide the cylinder on and make sure everything's good. Put it all back together and fire it up. So pretty excited about that. Pretty excited that we'll get her riding this weekend. Yeah, anyway. Was a long, sordid story, but we're good. So there's our base gasket and head O-rings. So I will bring you guys in as we slide the cylinder on so you can see how we do that. So we got our nice, shiny, clean cylinder. Gonna make sure we get our ring end gaps lined up on that pin. I'm going to rotate the crank down a little bit, make some room here. We're going to come over and squeeze the rings with our fingers. And as with everything, just don't want to force it. All right, we got that on there. I like to rotate her up and down, make sure everything's good, nothing's hanging up. All right, so now we're gonna put our base nuts on the cylinder, tighten those down, then we'll hook up the power valve. Before you go ahead and put it all the way on, you wanna make sure you put your gasket on first, because it's a real bummer to get everything all hooked up and not have this in place. So we get that gasket on there like that, and we're going to take our rod, put it right on there. So we're going to take our clip, we're going to come in here, and we're going to find this hole. You want to be really careful not to drop that down in the hole. It's not the end of the world if you do, it just creates a lot more work. There we go, clip that on. All right, so now KTM power valve gaskets are notorious for leaking. So it's just this plastic kind of thing right here, and they don't seal that well. So I like to take a little bit of our Threebond 1184 like that, and we're just going to slide in here. Now we'll get the other cover on and we'll come back and put the head on. All right, we got our O-rings in. We got our signature on the piston, which we always have to do. And now we're going to set this head on here. And as with all two strokes, I am not going to use a torque wrench on the head. I'm just going to tighten it down in a crisscross pattern, and it will be awesome and fine. Hello. Hey guys, so I'm sorry that I didn't get a video of me starting Bella's little 85 TC, but it already left. It ran great. Her dad picked it up. She is going to be riding this weekend and then racing next weekend with us at the National Hare and Hound. Zach just got done putting a top end in this 2020 KTM 300 XCW, and now he's working on figuring out how to bleed the little oil pump and make sure it's all good. I am going to do another thing to this bike. I'm really excited. So this is the stock pipe, and I'm really excited to show you guys what we're going to be testing next. Boom! Beautiful, beautiful FMF fatty factory rig, hand welded, hand hammered seams. This thing's going to be awesome. So I'm going to put this thing on there, fire it up, and then we're going to shut her down for the week. All right, check it out. Ow, it's so pretty, so pretty, so pretty. Factory pipes are so beautiful. Obviously, the one thing that I don't love about them is that you got to be really good about keeping them from rusting. So mainly, if you wash them, you got to immediately like WD-40 them or whatever. Anyway, so but it is rad. I'm really excited to try it out. I'm going to take it out tomorrow morning with the kids. It'll be Sunday. We're going to go out and ride with the boys. Should be rad. Guys, thank you so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. I really appreciate it. Punk Rock Club, thanks for sticking around to the end. I love you guys. If you enjoyed this video, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. That would be cool. Also, maybe hit the little notification bell, because that will let you know every time we do a new video. And right now, during this time of year, we're doing videos all the time, 2 or 3 a week. We try to get the Schlogs out here on Mondays. But yeah, anyway, I love you guys. I hope you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels, and I desperately hope that what we're doing here is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes!